We had our Utah Dental Association convention this past weekend, or I should say last Thursday, Friday. It really wasn't the weekend. This is the weekend right now that I do my podcasts on usually. And I was sitting there on Friday with the resolutions that they had. There was 4 of them. And at the end of it, I said to some of the guys over there, what does this have to do with practice profitability? What does this have to do with any of the top 5, let alone top 10 concerns that we dentists in the state of Utah find difficult to deal with? And nothing. That's what they all said, nothing. We begin our podcast right there.
Welcome, all of you fantastic dental podcast listeners, to the My Practice, My Business Dental Podcast Show, where we help dentists profit and thrive with excerpts from the clinical business of dentistry training here at My Practice, My Business. We'll be addressing and answering questions with current trends dentists and their teams face each and every day in their pursuit of this wonderful career we call dentistry. And now the host of our show, the clinical director and president at My Practice, My Business, Dr. Rob Thorup.
So all of you listening today, we actually ran a survey for dentists, front office team members, hygienists, dental assistants, and we asked some pretty potent questions on a survey, and I was absolutely amazed at how many people actually came by, took our survey, and we had 5 signature pages out for legislation that Tracy and I are working on with our state legislator here in Utah. And I'm happy to announce that, some of the states might be actually pulling their proverbial heads out of their proverbial butts and actually getting going on some of this stuff, because there's so much that can be done. Yet there's so little that our associations do when it comes to the top 10 problems that we face in dentistry. Obviously, procedural profitability, control of quality of deliverable dental care, and deceptive language on EOBs. Those are usually in the top 5 all the time. The EOB thing, some people don't understand that because the dentists don't even know what the crap their front office team members are doing and dealing with every day and pulling the hair out of their heads every day when it comes to EOB language, and then how they have to deal with that with the patient. So there's a lot of cool things that we're seeing happening here in the state of Utah. And then we're seeing other states starting to surface and copy some of the things we do. We are going to post the results from our survey. I believe those are going to be on our website. We're also emailing those out to the state of Utah. We're going to gather some more. A lot of people said, gosh, can you just email these surveys out to the state, because we really want to participate in it. So there's all kinds of cool stuff that can be done, but holy crap, it's just the same stuff, different day. And we have literally seen in the Utah Dental Association convention, the numbers continue to decline. We've got Henry Schein taking 1 booth. We got Patterson taking 2 booth spaces when they used to take 5 times plus that amount. We're seeing it was really interesting at the My Practice, My Business booth. Everybody that walked around, they're like, holy cow, you guys are so busy. You're doing so many great things. And I want to shout out to all the people that have come through our training. Thank you so much. People who haven't come through our training are freeloaders getting the benefits of what your dollars pay for, because they pay for legislation. They pay for Tracy and I to hire lobbyists to go after legislation in the state of Utah, which is starting to benefit states nationwide. And I really love that. So thank you so much for your support. All of you who are listening who have never come through our training, what are you waiting for? You don't like procedural profitability. You want to just complain about insurance reimbursement rates, complain about your team, complain about everything, and not do something about it, not have actual true business training. Stop it. Come through our training. Ask our clients if it's not the best thing they've ever done. And we don't have the answers to everything, all the problems in a dental practice, but I think we got about 95% of them. So let us help you out, please. So I actually was passing this out because I knew that for whatever reason, I was going to miss whatever meeting I was supposed to go to because we're so busy in our booth. These meetings start at like 4:30 in the day. And we have people stay in our booth lingering and wanting to talk to Tracy and I. And we have some wonderful team members. We have all of our team members are dang wonderful. And they were there helping out so much, and I appreciate them taking the load. This is the first, actually, the third time our booth's been set up and taken down by team members. And thank you so much, team members, if you're listening. I really love the camaraderie of our team and how hard they work, both at Thorup Dental and My Practice, My Business. They're all cross-trained in both companies, as all of you who've been through our training know that. And they're wonderful. I have a fantastic team. I want to say this letter. I'm actually going to talk about this letter today that I actually wrote 2 years ago, and now I'm just going to put it out there. It's going to go to the entire state of Utah, at least all the emails that we have, and I really believe that Utah has one of the best associations, because Tracy and I have been dealing with so many state associations, and there's some good ones, but Utah is a great one, but it's starting to tank a little bit, in my opinion, because of leadership. And it's really frustrating to just see people. People are like, gosh, look at what I'm doing as a leader. I got a plaque on the wall. And you guys heard that podcast before. And I'm like, there's so much more you can do. And you just have to know how to do it. And don't be afraid to ask questions or have other people help you out. But I'm gonna go after this letter. I want all of you to listen to it, because it is absolutely truthful, powerful, and this is something I hope that you guys share this podcast with other people that they need to listen to it. UDA Delegate Meeting 2025 Open Letter. Dear American Dental Association and Utah Dental Association and all associations nationwide. As many of you know, my wife and business partner Tracy and I have been strong advocates for both dentists and patients through our company, My Practice, My Business, MPMB, over the years. We've trained dental practices in Utah and across the nation in how to achieve profitability, even when participating in PPOs. Part of our training includes thoroughly understanding dental insurance contracts and state laws. Now, as I'm reading this letter, I'm going to stop right there. I'm just going to interject, so I hope you guys pick up where I'm interjecting, because some things I might get off on a tangent that's not in the letter. So if you hear me swearing or something, you'll know that that's probably, it might be in the letter, but it probably isn't in the letter. So understanding insurance contracts and state laws. What a concept. For the last 2 years, our wonderful state association, where laws are developing and being copied by other states, heaven forbid that we have Tracy teaching the office managers and dentists and their entire teams our state laws and actually how to apply them. And our survey really said it all. Okay. Continuing. We were the primary drivers of Utah's House Bill 359 legislation, the Network Leasing, Downcoding, and Bundling Protections Law, which protects dentists and patients from the overreach of dental insurance companies. I'm happy to report that we are actively working on additional legislation this year to help safeguard dental practices and the patients they serve. I'm going to stop right there. I swear I'm going to throw water balloons or something at the UDA. If I hear one more dentist in the state of Utah thinking that the Utah Dental Association did the major heavy lifting on House Bill 359, you are dead wrong. We allowed the Utah Dental Association to add the network leasing component to the downcoding and bundling protections law. Okay? That's just fact. I get so sick and tired of people not understanding who were the ones that actually did the legislative heavy work and wrote that legislation. And unbelievable. Just, UDA, call it the way it is. We did it, not you. Okay. Unfortunately, the dental profession continues to face challenges that highlight a disconnect between the priorities of our professional associations and the concerns of practicing dentists. Membership in associations like the UDA and ADA is declining, and it's not just due to financial pressures. The real issue lies in the misalignment between the needs of dentists and the actions of the associations that claim to represent them. Here are some examples that illustrate this disconnect. Ongoing concerns with third-party payers. Inadequate action on third-party payer concerns. An ADA survey in the January 2023 HPI Economic Outlook in Dentistry listed third-party payers and insurance reimbursements as the third largest concern among dentists. Similarly, the Academy of General Dentistry reported dental insurance as the number one concern. These issues have consistently ranked as top concerns for over 20 years, yet apart from non-covered services laws, which are a large number of dentists and their teams remain unaware of, there has been minimal action from national and state associations to address these problems. Misinformation from leadership. When asked why the ADA wasn't encouraging states to replicate Utah's House Bill 359, a past ADA president incorrectly claimed that similar laws had already been passed elsewhere. In reality, at the time, not a single state had enacted legislation like House Bill 359. To date, only Tennessee has passed a similar law. The Tennessee law happens to be word-for-word copy of the Utah law. Now, I want to interject on this. Sorry, I'm getting all worked up. My throat's killing me. That's because we were talking so much Thursday and Friday at the convention. I hope I'm okay. Here's what's interesting is we're now starting to see a couple other states starting to work on our House Bill 359 legislation. And, of course, we're seeing the state of Washington just make a muck out of it. Unbelievable. Okay, anyway. Lack of legal and legislative support. Last year, Delta Dental of Washington was involved in a legal dispute regarding its illegal control of dental care delivery in violation of state and federal laws. Neither the Washington State Dental Association nor the ADA offered support to the affected dentists despite similar parallels to successful litigation by the California Dental Association against Delta Dental of California. Why the inconsistency in advocacy? Caving to insurance threats. When Wyoming dentists sought to pass a similar law to House Bill 359, or identical, I should say, Delta Dental of Wyoming threatened the Wyoming Dental Association members with legal action. Instead of supporting its members, the Wyoming Dental Association abandoned the effort. This lack of resolve leaves dentists vulnerable to corporate overreach by insurance companies. State Insurance Commission inadequacies. In states like Montana and Idaho, insurance commissioners lack departments to handle provider complaints against dental insurance companies. Despite dentists reporting clear violations of state law, insurers dismiss these complaints, knowing dentists have no real recourse. Why aren't state dental associations prioritizing advocacy for such critical issues? Now, I'll break into this. Tracy's actually working with a couple of the state associations to get legislation or to get state insurance commissioners having the ability to receive complaints from dentists. But where's the associations? Why has this not been an issue years ago? Okay, I continue. Utah interests in surrounding states. If the line isn't held in surrounding states with their respective dental associations, it's very possible that their problems will become our problem in Utah. My practice, my business will certainly fight on behalf of Utah dentists, but state dental associations need to become more unified and not fragmented as they currently are if dentists are to prevent the bullying tactics by dental insurance companies. Can we win the battle? Absolutely. MPMB's legislative efforts have already proven that concept. May I add, dental associations, stop telling us that we signed a contract and there's not a dang thing you can do. Tracy and I have been doing all kinds of cool stuff under legislation and protecting the dentists and the patients they serve here in Utah. And thank God Tennessee actually had the cojones to have our law added to their state. I continue. No, I'm not going to continue. I want to say it one more time. Dental associations, stop using that as a crutch to be inadequate for your members, meaning you signed a contract. There's nothing we can do. We've heard that BS for so many years. There is a lot of things that can be done by the associations. You guys just choose not to. It's a choice. And do you wonder why association membership is on the decline? Maybe you should ask yourself that question and have a come to Jesus with yourself. All right, sorry, I continue. Dental associations and their leaders need to stop using the pandering statement of, you signed a contract and we can't get involved. Maybe if I'd read my letter a little further, I wouldn't have to go in my diatribe, or that would be my clue. Here we go. MPMB got involved, and we won for every dentist in Utah with House Bill 359. And I'm really excited with what Tracy's working on right now. I can't wait to share with all of you in other states what we got going on. All right, next topic, Medicare and federal law concerns. The ADA has invested years of efforts into the DOC Access Act, the DOC Access Act, which sought to create a federal non-covered services law. While their dedication to this issue is appreciated, the initiative ultimately failed to gain traction, leaving dentists and patients vulnerable to the unchecked authority of federal insurance plans, including Medicare. This failure underscores the need for a new approach to such critical legislative priorities. More recently, the ADA has shown interest in Oklahoma's precedent-setting efforts to hold ERISA plans accountable under state law. Oklahoma's initiative provides a promising angle to pursue a federal solution. However, it is worth noting that the ADA's involvement appears to have been reactive rather than proactive. Other entities begin the work, and only then did the ADA step in to engage. If the ADA had taken the lead in advocating for similar measures years ago, we might already have federal protections in place. Why does it seem the ADA acts only after others have paved the way? True leadership requires bold action and foresight, not waiting for someone else to take the first step. While these efforts represent progress, we must ask, how can the ADA ensure that its future initiatives truly prioritize member dentists and avoid the pitfalls of past attempts? The lack of tangible results on this front continues to erode trust among member dentists, who depend on their associations to champion their interests effectively. Now, I'm probably getting ahead of myself in my letter. I don't know. There's so many things. Obviously, I mean, I could talk about these topics all day because why? I write about them. I publish them. I put them in podcasts. But I want to thank, I've now received phone calls from 3 medical physicians, medical docs, who have said, Rob, keep up the good work. We hope that the ADA doesn't end the same way that the American Medical Association did. Keep pushing, keep plugging, because somebody needs to. Somebody needs to be calling them out. Somebody needs to help change the way things are done. I also had an interesting conversation with a person that I just actually met at the UDA show, and Tracy and I are actually we're going to have further conversation with this individual who has some more insight onto things going on in the world and with some of the things that we teach on. And it was really fun talking with them. I don't want to give away who that person is because I've not asked them if I can. But they were very insightful as to the fact that, which I've known since my days with Adabai, that the ADA, the predominant amount of income that they bring in is absolutely not with membership. It's with the leasing of the codes to the insurance companies. Let that sink in. So is there a conflict of interest there? I don't know. Well, I'm probably getting ahead of myself. Okay. Next topic was ADA's fiduciary interest, transparency needed. I'm kidding. I should just keep going with this letter so I don't waste your guys' time on this podcast. This is how my mind thinks, man. I'm constantly on this stuff. Okay. ADA's fiduciary interests, transparency is needed. Conflicts of interest with CDT codes. Does the ADA or its for-profit arm, Adabai, receive financial compensation from dental insurance companies for leasing CDT codes? If so, does this create a conflict of interest that compromises the ADA's ability to advocate for its members against third-party payers? Influence on CDT code decisions. Do any of the dental insurance companies have voting rights or any influence over CDT code decisions? Does the ADA have any follow-up studies showing the financial impact of removing CDT codes on an average dental practice? like when they removed OSHA years ago, when they removed acid etch and bonding code many years ago. List goes on and on. As they've tried to remove anesthetic, and they are now looking at just having buildups be inclusive and removing that code. Yeah, let's go there. Continuing. Use of Salesforce. Now, Salesforce is a client resource management software, and I hope you guys listen to what I wrote here. The ADA's partnership with Salesforce raises questions about its focus. Is this collaboration intended to increase profitability for the ADA itself, rather than addressing the top concerns of member dentists? How does Salesforce contribute to resolving pressing issues such as insurance reimbursements, quality of care control, and procedural profitability? The amount of time they're using on this Salesforce CRM software is like unbelievable. And Tracy and I, we actually looked at Salesforce to run our CRM here at My Practice My Business, and we decided not to go with them. The intel they can gather on each of you is absolutely amazing with artificial intelligence, and we didn't really care to know all that stuff. But it's pretty scary what they can find out about you, and I can see the ADA using Salesforce as a tool to increase their revenues through sales of other stuff, like fly rods, mountain bikes, cars, whatever it might be. So I'm sure there's going to be some business relationship with Salesforce where the ADA gets a kickback of some sort. I could be wrong, and if I am, I'll be the first to apologize. I don't think I am. Okay, conclusion and call for action. Dental associations have had decades to drive meaningful change. However, pervasive lack of focus on the most pressing concerns, third-party payer control, and member advocacy has left dentists delusioned. Membership will continue to decline unless the ADA and UDA and other state associations realign their priorities with the realities faced daily by dentists. Dr. Mark Taylor, past president of the Utah Dental Association, once said, quote, "If our own fiscal house is not in order, providing discounted or pro bono care becomes impossible." End of quote. The financial stability of dental practices is paramount, not just for dentists, but for the patients and communities they serve. Yet this stability is under constant attack from third-party payers, and the response from dental associations remains insufficient. So I just realized I left something out there as I'm reading this letter. Financial stability is paramount to maintaining qualified and talented team members. And I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, I didn't come out and say that exactly. I use communities, which the dental team is part of the community, but I just wanted to emphasize that, especially based off our survey that we took at the UDA convention. Now, I'll continue. Dr. Michael Davis, stop. I've never met this guy, but I've read some of his articles, and he's, he and I are on the same page. Here we go. Dr. Michael Davis, a lifetime ADA member, summarized the current crisis best. Quote, "The ADA must be very clear on whom it represents without conflicts. Whose interests come first? Member doctors, inclusive of the doctor-patient relationship, which involves the public, government programs, the insurance industry, corporate health care, corporate sponsors of dental manufacturers and suppliers, or the dental education industrial complex. A tacit policy of jack of all trades and master of none is a recipe for irrelevance." End of quote. Well said. Very, very, very well said, Michael. I continue. Dental associations should be structured to reflect the diverse interests and needs of the entire membership, not just those of the elected or appointed leaders. Every member should actively engage and have a voice in shaping the direction of our state and national associations. Leadership should not only represent but also be accountable to those they serve. Ultimately, we get the type of association we deserve, whether strong and effective or weak and ineffective, based on how actively we participate, whether by stepping up to lead or by holding those in leadership accountable. The future of our dental associations rests in our hands. At My Practice, My Business, we promote membership in both the ADA and UDA. However, it's becoming increasingly difficult to recommend these associations when their focus strays so far from the daily challenges faced by dentists. We urge you to address the questions and concerns outlined here and to take actionable steps towards solutions that truly benefit your members. Sincerely, me, President, My Practice, My Business. Here's our phone number, 801-226-4420. Well, it's kind of like this year. This year was honestly the hardest year I have had to date to sending in my association dues for both the ADA and the state of Utah. And and then after attending the delegate meeting at the UDA convention, it just confirmed that if we as members don't step up and have a voice and start speaking and reach platforms that have them, if you just want to sit back, you're going to get what you deserve. The same crap, different day. And so that's why Tracy and I, we have the ability, we just have the ability, and it's not just, it's not the time and money that's the ability. It's just the know-how. And how did we gain that know-how? Through experience. And so if you're all just sitting back doing nothing, then that's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get nothing. All right? So I just ask all of you, please step forward, voice your opinions. Your opinions might be different than mine and Tracy's. Maybe you want third-party payers to, take money from one patient and apply it towards another. Maybe you want credit cards to be happening so you lose even more, percentage points on profitability. Maybe you want the insurance companies to be able to bundle all day long and force you to write legitimate services that you provided. I mean, I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg. If this is what you want, then that is what you're going to get. But if I were in another state and I was listening to this podcast, I'll tell you what, I would take, sorry, my voice is almost given out. I would take this podcast and I would share it. And I would start asking the questions, not what are you doing? What can we do? What can we do to make a difference, to change? Can we copy Utah's laws? How do we apply them? Is there somebody in our state association that can actually talk about the laws and how to apply them in treatment plans, in presenting patients with needed treatment? Can we apply those non-covered service laws? How does that work? What does that look like? Can insurances still, bundle or downcode? Sure. But do they force us to write off, can they force us to write off legitimate codes? No, they cannot. Can we offer value-added service and charge a patient directly for those services? Yeah, you better be able to. Because if you can't, please understand, you're being reimbursed for the least expensive, professionally accepted treatment. So if you're a dentist, and I had this conversation with a dentist at the UDA convention, if you're a dentist that is placing in the most expensive composites and bonding agents, and I know very few of you are placing in the more expensive crowns because, honestly, you can't afford them with the reimbursement rates you receive. But if you are that person, if you're putting in the most expensive dental implants, if you're using the most expensive lab prosthetics, period, if you're paying your team the highest wages out there to maintain them, and you're getting reimbursed for LEPAT, least expensive professionally accepted treatment, that's in your contract, by the way, that's what they state. You need business help. You need to rethink your life. No business in this world ever does that. So in my conversation with one of the dentists at the UDA convention, I made that statement to him. I asked him, can you go down to Big O Tires and pay their Big O tire fee for Michelin tires. No, they're not going to give you Michelin tires at their name brand pricing. Why did dentists do that? Because we've been taught, Rob, to do the very best possible. That's right. You make that root canal filling hit right there at the apex. You clean that canal out really well. Don't shortcut it. You make that prep perfect. But when it comes to the technology, medications, material, it's like, you don't have to put the very best stuff in there because that is not what the consumer is paying you for. So if you're doing it, again, it's called business dumb. And docs, you're smarter than that. And the products that are the baseline products of today, you were putting in 20, 25 years ago as the top dog products. So honestly, if you're putting in LePat products and services, is it really doing the patient a disservice? No. That's what you did 20, 25 years ago. But should you be putting in, if you have a philosophy of well, I don't agree with that, Rob, I want to put the very best in all the time because that's what we're supposed to do. We're healthcare providers. No, your clinical skills need to be perfect. But you do not have to put in the most expensive products, medications, materials, technology, if the patient is not paying for that. I paid extra for better mesh on a hernia surgery. I paid extra in medical. My wife paid extra for a drug that they used that was not included in the insurance contract. Do you understand what I'm trying to teach you here? So if you continue to do those things, you're damaging yourself, your team. Unbelievable. Stop it. But if you come through our training, we'll teach you how to legally, ethically, morally offer those choices and charge for them. It has to be done a very precise way per the contract. These are things that I believe that should be being taught to us. Just understanding, taught to us by the associations, just understanding your state laws and how to apply them is a $7,000 to $15,000 on the average $1 million practice. That's $7,000 to $15,000 a month in new net revenue. Now, instead, let's beat our chest and tell everybody to drop insurances, or you signed a contract and we can't do anything for you as an association because you signed a contract. Oh my gosh, there is so much they can be doing. Hold their feet to the fire and be members, because I'll tell you, the organization of dentistry is far better than the independence of dentistry. So they keep telling us that, but they just don't know how to apply their own principles by which they teach that organized dentistry is better than not having organized dentistry. They sit there and tout that, but do they deliver on it? That's the question that we all need to ask. And if they're not delivering on the top 5 concerns that we all have, 3 of them being insurance related, another one being workforce issues, but how can you maintain staff if you cannot pay them well? And how can you pay them well if you're not profitable in your practice? I rest my case. This is why our training here at My Practice, My Business is so mission critical to every one of you out there, because nobody teaches what we teach. And that's just factual. And the associations, the sooner they understand that, sorry, I apologize for my coughing in the microphone. The sooner they understand that, the sooner that we will all look at the associations. And as one dentist said to me at the UDA convention, Rob, I couldn't believe how many non-members came through that we saw this year and talked to. I was amazed. So they are supporting the UDA by coming to the UDA convention. Thank you. But they all said and echoed the same thing. I'll join when they actually do something pertinent for my practice. And having resolutions of the number of delegates per area, the push on the Hygienist Act, the push on fluoride, These things don't have relevance to the needs that we have in our dental practices. And until they understand that, they're going to continue to lose membership. And if they actually just even take one step in teaching dentists what the laws are and how to apply them, that would be a big step right there. But I hope that they take it a step further and, teach dentists, or at least maybe send them to companies that know how to teach them procedural profitability and business skills that the large majority of consultants do not teach. Processes are great, and I applaud the consultants that teach processes. Wonderful. Processes are important, but they're also not rocket science, and they're easy to do. Leadership is needed in practices. And again, that's like 3 modules that we harp on teaching the dentist and the team to take leadership and ownership of what they do. Not actually owning the practice, but taking ownership of what they do. Those are the things that become relevant. Those are the things that make practices that run smooth. Well, thanks so much for listening, and I hope this has been insightful. And I hope all of you get involved in your associations. Don't sit back, but start talking. Have the courage, have the leadership, have the moral turpitude to actually speak out and speak up and hold our association leaders accountable and start addressing the things that actually matter to us. That's what's going to retain membership, and that's what's going to benefit all of us here. Thank you so much again for listening. I want all of you to have a super fantastic day.
Thank you for being with us today. Since 2006, My Practice, My Business has been teaching dentists and their teams business skills, dental insurance contractual protocols, and state laws governing how to profitably bill patients fairly for the need-based services they provide. What's more, we guarantee our training, unlike other dental consulting companies in the industry. Simply stated, if you don't increase your net revenue, we don't get paid. We call it dental consulting the way it should be. We believe there has never been a more important time than now for dentists to experience and implement our key methods, knowledge, and business training within their dental practices. To learn more about our guaranteed, no-risk clinical business of dentistry training that is changing dental practices for the better, just go to our website, mypracticemybusiness.com, and surf our pages for additional information about our company and the services we provide. When you're ready, give us a call and get scheduled for the most profitable dental business training that you will ever experience. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call us. Thank you again and have a fantastic day.